Overwatch's novelty is in its abilities. There are a lot of them, which means that there's a lot of messing up to do. Today, I'm going to help you all out by going over the top 20 abilities that you and I both use wrong and how to get better at them. My name is Nate, and welcome to Blizzard Guides. Before we get started, this video is brought to you by our giveaway. We've got a Razer Overwatch keyboard, mouse, and headset up for grabs, as well as 55 winter loot boxes. There are 7 winners, so make sure that you get followed in the link in the description to get entered. But with that said, let's get into this video. Some of these things are kind of obvious but a bit difficult to master, but a lot of these are just some things that you might think that you're doing right, but in reality could be doing a lot better, or there just might be some stuff that you didn't know that you could do. This list is best for those of you that are looking to learn something new about heroes that you don't use often. If you're trying to just get advanced top 500 pro secret tips, this video isn't really for you. It's going to be in alphabetical order by hero, so with that said, let's get into this video. So starting this video off at number 20, we've got Ana's Sleep Dart. A lot of people just will use it whenever they feel like, but there's a lot more thought that comes to sleep darting. Rather than using it just whenever, you need to save it if the enemy has flankers that can attack you or to slow down the enemy team when they engage. Sleep can, 1, protect you, and 2, slow down the enemy team. If you want to slow down the enemy team, aim for their supports, or more easily, aim for their tanks. At number 19, Ashe Dynamite. Here's a really cool use that not everyone knows that is extremely powerful. If you're going to be attacked and you're in a relatively good spot, dynamite right in front of you, and if you get attacked, you can activate your coach gun to knock you back, knock the enemy back, and light the enemy on fire, preventing you from death. You can follow up with a left click to kill them, which is super strong and super underrated. At number 18, Brigitte's Whipshot. This just bothers me so much. I see it happening with Lucio's boop too. Just stop booping away my kills. If you're not going to be killing them for sure with the whip shot, just don't whip shot. The whip shot is good if you're trying to kill somebody that's out of range of your flail, so let's say that they're kind of far away from you, then by all means just use your whip shot and don't kill them, that's okay. Or it's also good if you're trying to do 2 flails worth of damage, but it's not good to use whenever you're dealing hits that actually won't kill the enemy, because then you're just booping them out of your range, and then you definitely won't be able to finish the kill. Moving on though, at number 17, Moira Matrix. This is very similar to Briggs in the sense that it's a management of resource. Far too many divas in lower ranks like to hold down Matrix while they engage, which is less than ideal. You should use Matrix reactively instead of just holding it down, where if you see something coming, you Matrix it. Don't Matrix bullets that your main tank could protect. Matrix stuff like fire strikes, sniper shots, sleep darts, anti-nades, dynamite, and way more stuff like that. If it's a primary fire from the enemy team, usually your main tank can handle it. You more so want to handle those abilities that have a lot of value because Matrix takes a long time to charge. You also want to try your best not to use it all in one go. You more so want to use it in small bits and pieces. At number 16, Genji's Deflect. Here's something that I've learned from going from main tank to Genji recently. Deflect is awesome for protecting your supports. If you ever see a flanker going towards your support, dashing into your support and trying to deflect shots from the flanker often lands a kill on the flanker if your support lands a shot or 2 on the flanker, which is very common. Even in GM, this technique works for me more than I'd like to admit, so if you see your healer in need, protect them and you might be surprised. At number 15, Hanzo's Recon Arrow. This is just one of those things that everybody knows, but not everyone does. Just try not to waste recon, and just use it as a tool to communicate with your team. If you know that somebody's on high ground, but your team might not, you can recall them, and your team will now know without you having to say anything or have any confusion. Like, if you say, oh, the Widow's up top left, well, which top left could it be? Well, if you recon them, then your whole team will know. Also, use it to highlight areas that are out of view that your team is going to, or that might be a sniper's nest or something of that sort. At number 14, Lucio's Speed Boost. You need to use Amp and Speed Boost at different times based on the game mode when leaving your spawn point. If you're on Assault, use it whenever you're going through the choke on attack. Do not use it at the spawn doors. On Defense, you want to use it whenever your team is going to engage on the enemy or whenever a tank or support needs to get out of the fight or into the fight. On King of the Hill, use it out of the spawn doors. And on Payload, use it whenever you're about to begin the fight with the enemy or whenever you're about to leave the payload if you have a slower moving team comp. At number 13, Moiras Role. It's just like Hanzo's, where you just need to think a bit more about how you're using it. I really don't ever use it unless I need to move quickly to dodge something, or whenever I'm in the middle of a fight and I need to land a shot on the enemy that is low or that my team is focusing. Basically, whenever you're in an intense fight, use it, but if you're not in absolute need to reload, like if you're just shooting from high ground and nobody's really jumping you, then you just don't need to roll, and you're better off saving it. If you're on that high ground, use it whenever you get jumped instead of just whenever, so that way you don't have to spend valuable seconds reloading whenever you're getting attacked and only have seconds to live. At number 12, Mercy's Guardian Angel. This is more so a gameplay and control thing, but disable everything except hold to Guardian Angel. The hold to Guardian Angel is preference. You don't have to be looking at whoever you're healing, your beam stays connected no matter where you're looking, so if you disable all of these options, you can be looking at your Farah and fly to her while you're healing your diva. You should be looking around while you're healing, looking for threats and who you can fly to and escape to, instead of tunnel visioning into that one person that you're healing. And on top of that, let's say that your diva is taking a lot of damage, but you're about to get attacked, you can fly to your Farah while maintaining the healing on your diva instead of flying to your diva when you're looking at your Farah. At number 11, Moira's Fade. Moira's Fade is insanely powerful. Basically what happens is I see Moira's waste it way too early on and don't really respect its value. Think about it like this: if the enemy doesn't kill you in 6 seconds, you don't die. You can escape any situation with Fade, so use it whenever you're going to die or whenever you just got jumped. Don't use it to get into the fight, use it to get out. At number 10, Orisa's Barrier. Far too many Orisas just reset their barrier way too early. Make sure that you use it as late as possible. If your barrier is still healthy, don't reset it. Basically, I like to wait until my barrier is 100 HP to reset it, or I just have to move to a new location or block something that the enemy team is throwing at me. Otherwise, just leave it and do not reset it too early. At number 9, Farah's booster combos. There's a few combos that you should know to use whenever you're playing Farah that not enough people use. At number 8, Reinhardt's Charge. Just unbind it, honestly. Charge is supposed to be rarely ever used. I almost never use it, and if I do, I don't ever go far from my team. If you're charging into enemy lines or using it every single fight, you probably need to reevaluate how you charge unless you're above grandmasters. And obviously, I do want to state, because some people thought I was being serious, you don't actually unbind it. I'm just saying, don't really use it. Use it in the very last situation that you could possibly think to use it, but otherwise, it's really only useful for getting from spawn to point or going from point to spawn whenever your team dies, so you don't stagger. At number 7, Roadhog's Heal. Stop using it to heal. Use it to tank damage. Let me explain. Instead of using heal to only regain health, use it so that you can reduce the incoming damage by 50% and block damage. Roadhog is still a tank, so if you're going to die, you can tank the damage, but if you're not exactly in a fight or in danger, you really shouldn't be using it. You should let your main healer heal you so that they can get ult charge instead of you hogging it, pun intended. At number 6, Symmetry Teleporter. This one is a bit too long to explain in depth, but basically don't waste your teleporter and try and use it to get to the point faster, or use it to get your teammates to high ground, but be conscious of if your team really needs it. Way too many sims use teleporter for their own use, which is fine, but you should be putting teleporters right in front of allies and they still will use it. Basically, like if the Ana's on the low ground and I want her to get up to the high ground, I'll teleport her right in front of her and she almost always uses it. Also, on top of that, use the turret traps whenever possible by putting 3 turrets down and then teleporting them onto point. If this is an intense fight, enemies won't focus your turrets. At number 5, Torbjorn's turrets. Rather than putting your turret as the first line of defense, being the first thing to shoot the enemy, use it as a last line of defense. If the enemy invests resources into a fight, they're not going to have the focus power to take your turret down. If you put it as a last line of defense in spots where the enemy doesn't see it until they've already been deep into the point, your turret becomes 10 times more valuable, because then the team, on top of having to, coordinate against your team, they really have to pay attention to where your turret is because it has perfect aim and it will auto lock and kill everything if they're really not on top of it. At number 4, Tracer's Recall. This is a management kind of thing, just don't use it whenever you take your first point of damage. Prefer health packs over recall. I use it more so to disengage quickly for a short period of time, rather than to heal health if I really don't need to and I have options like my off healer or health packs. At number 3, Widowmaker's Venom Mine. I just want to show you this cool trick. It's not really anything that people are doing wrong. If you put your Venom Mine on corners like this, you can use it to protect your head in Widow duels. At number 2, Zarya's bubbles. Basically, people use bubbles at the wrong time for charge and for protection. Whenever you're lower than 75% charge, use the bubbles to really just try and farm charge. So that means, using it whenever there's a fire strike or D.Va's micro missiles or Hanzo's just, farming his stormbow or Zenyatta's right clicking, anything like that. But if you're above 75% charge, use your personal bubble to maintain the high charge just like I was mentioning, and use your friendly bubbles to protect your allies from near death, and only from near death. Your Reinhardt can survive D.Va rockets, but he likely won't survive a good pin by the enemy Rein. If you bubble either, you get the same charge, but if you're bubbling the charge, it is insanely more valuable than the rockets with, your already high charge. And finally, last but not least at number 1, Zenyatta's healing orbs. Don't use the healing orb for people that are lowest. Actually, what you want to do is use the orb for those that are most likely going to overextend and take critical damage. And maybe not even overextend, just regular extension. Basically, healing orb is supposed to heal risk, not health. Your main healer can take care of your tanks that are low, but you are supposed to take care of the 50 points of damage that your Genji took, since those 50 points of damage on the Genji, although they are less than 250 points of health that your tank is missing, are so much more important to the Genji, especially if your Genji is about to take a fight. So basically, you want to use the orbs on the people that are most likely to die, that are a bit more squishy than your tanks, and allow your main healer to deal with your tanks. But that definitely doesn't mean that you can't heal your tanks whenever they're low and nobody's in a fight. But anyway, that's been today's video for you. If you enjoyed this one, make sure to drop a like and make sure that you join our winter giveaway. We really want to hit 100,000 subscribers before the end of the year. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to get subscribed so that you never miss an upload. But anyway, I really do hope that you guys enjoyed this one. Have a nice day. My name is Nate, and this was Blizzard Guides.